ain't really been in the mood for fake news. Are you a ock or a op? Can't choose, you fake too. Ruach HaKodesh, my force field like King Bruce. The most high, put my feet on the gas, I can't cruise. Praise the most high, feet on the grass, I can't lose. Stick to the plan like we building a house, now make room. You ain't never seen me in this color like Beirut. People acting like repenting is something they can't do. Are you dumb or not? People choosing hell over heaven, but they know it high. Of course, you can find me in the present like I know the spot. He gave me these words, what a blessing, I'ma pour it out. People seeing water where my breath is, yeah, I flow a lot. Holy Spirit shining in the dark like you control the tide. People out here thinking it's a game, but you control the fry. If you thinking what I'm saying is lame, I can't socialize for now, and I'm just gonna stay in my lane like I'm motorized. What you thought? I should dumb it down to maintain. You going off, the devil turning up, so I am too. No going soft. Every scripture in that Bible a sword. This is a war. What you thought? An Naviel gon' help you see clear, just like the frogs. The Most High speaks, but they don't fear him. When he talk, you don't want to hear them words, don't know you. So depart, repent. Yeah.
Do good in thy good pleasure, O Zion. Build out the walls of Jerusalem. Oh, Father, hear me. Forgive me. And purge me from my sins and iniquities. Hallelujah. Oh, Father, we praise you. Hallelujah. In the last days, thy sons and daughters shall prophesy and call upon the name Yod-Heh, Wad-Heh. Humble, let's meditate. And take, cry aloud and spare not. Let's get it.
I'm watching that clock like we in the fourth quarter. Messiah is coming. It's almost the hour. We roll with 144,000. He blessed the elect and he showing his power. And I've been fasting, so that mean I'm hungry. So that mean the demons I have to devour. Reading Ephesians, I don't fight with flesh and blood. I fight with principality and power. Please tell the evil, don't challenge me. My name is humble, I gotta be, I'm a descendant from the tribe of Benjamin. Don't wake the wolf up inside of me, Heaven to hell, bottom or top. I pick the top like a lottery, Get it? Lottery top pick. I pick the top like a lottery, Forget it. Israelite, yeah, my squad is the biggest. His nationality is not a religion. Pharisees trying to catch you slipping. They watch you like a museum exhibit. I don't have to fake the laws, I live it. You are living a facade, I get it. And you don't believe in God, you ignorant. Visionary, don't fit your description, I'm gone.
Yod-Heh, Wad-Heh, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob,
Yod-Heh, Wad-Heh. Humble, let's meditate. And take, cry aloud and spare not. Let's get it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Shalom. I see John is out there. First of all, give greetings to my brother Jose. How are we doing? And let's salute in and give the Most High, some love. Carry on.
Yahweh, Ba'Shem HaMashiach Yahushai. That is all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahushai. How are we doing today, sir?
Oh, we are doing great. This is something that's kind of been sitting on my mind lately, loosely, and then it just kind of came together more today, concretely. This is something we need to get into. And a lot of times when we go into prophecy, not just us, but even other Israelites will go into Daniel a lot. We'll go into Jeremiah. We'll go into Ezekiel. Go into Revelations. A lot of people love Revelations. But we normally don't touch the book of Esdras. And the book of Esdras is one where, thinking back to a debate that we had not very long ago, we were trying to get somebody to understand that some of the stuff that we were pointing out were literal things, not figurative things. And when you go through Ezekiel and Jeremiah and Daniel and Revelations and Esdras and Isaiah. Who am I leaving out? Who am I leaving out, Jose? Which prophets? I mean, because you
Isaiah,
go through.
well, we used to mention Isaiah already, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then you, yeah. pretty much.
Nehemiah also. There's so many prophets which speak on a lot of these events, and as you read through more and more of these prophets, it explains out over and over and over explicitly to a point where you cannot take what they're saying as solely metaphors. Now, there are parts where it's going to get very, very deep. That's the reason why they say, you know, the law is our schoolmaster. First, you need to understand the law. You need to get grounded in understanding the Bible first and how to read the Bible. You cannot read the Bible like you do any other book. It does not work that way. It is not that simple. And I see Vicky out there. I'm so glad to have you in here, Vicky. So I made sure to try to get them up so that way I can have these on the screen. That way you guys can write these down, or if somebody's catching this later on, excuse me, they could always screenshot. I know I do a lot of screenshotting as far as my studying, you know, remind me, oh, well, let me go back and double check that one. Here was this point that they were saying there. Let's see, do I got Matthew up? Yeah, I just need to get Matthew up real quick also. But the title of the show, the title of it, well, not show, this class is, but as the days of Noah. And let me put this Matthew 24 up on the screen so you guys can see what we're talking about. So we'll start off with this first scripture. We're going to come back to Matthew 24 once we explain this, but I'm going to put this up on the screen real quick. Matthew 24. Let's see, where do I want to go? Was it Matthew 24 and
Wars and Rumors of War?
I want to go there, but not yet.
Okay.
As in the days of Noah. I have to cheat. Bear with me. Bear with me. Blanking from earlier today. I have so much going on. Matthew, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cheat. $37. That's what it is. Let's skip down to Matthew 37 first.
Matthew 37?
Yes.
Okay. Wait. 27? Wait. Like.
No, 37. Ah, they got a typo in here.
Yeah, because Matthew only has 28 chapters.
No. No, not
Matthew 24 and 37.
24th and 37. Yes.
Whoops. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, they got a typo here. You notice this? It says in the days of No.
No, I would understand. I thought about that at first, but you know how Isaiah became Esaias and Elijah became Elias, Jeremiah became Jeremy, like Noah became Noah.
No. In mine, let me pull this up.
In my Bible, it reads as Noe.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it is. I must have been looking at a different translation earlier. But let's go on ahead, and what I have the show titled is so going ahead, start with 24 and 37. Yeah, it's not. It's actually, I was wrong. It's not a typo.
All right, so this is Matthew 24 and 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Continue.
For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
All right, that's what I wanted. Thank you. I wanted to start off with this so you guys can see the context of the thumbnail and what I was intimating in there. This is saying basically, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So it's saying the same way that the same way that things were going on in those days, right before Noah went into the ark, that's going to be the same way it's going to be in the last and final days. It's not like everybody's going to see everything is completely terrible and they're going to know, oh yeah, it's only a matter of time for God. It's still going to be where there's a little heightening up. And for those who have ears to see and ears to hear, they're going to be seeing these signs and like, okay, I do see what's going on here. But for most of the people, they're not going to believe, they're not going to see. So that's what I wanted to start off with. That's the reason why I'm connecting the days of Noah into modern day.
Hey, so I know you want to come back to Matthew, but we actually should. It's a bit more appropriate to continue the Luke version.
Yeah, we could do that.
Right, so I think so.
Which one did you want to start in Luke?
No,
Did you want to start back up near the top of Luke, or
no. I think I know what you want to get into.
Okay.
Later when you revisit the chapter, but the same accounts that Yahushua is talking about here, the Luke version might sound a bit better.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Mark and Luke are both of these books are talking about their
Matthew and
they're intimate. Matthew and Luke are intimating the same things. Now, are there some slight variations in there? Yes. You have two different people who are talking about it from two different time periods. So that does make a difference. A lot of times, I will go to Matthew because I feel overall Matthew has it more correctly on some of the things where there's a discrepancy. But Luke, he does explain some stuff out a little bit more detail. And Matthew is a firsthand account. He was on the scene with the Messiah, with the Hamashiach at the time. But Luke was, maybe a couple of decades later. That doesn't mean that his account, that it doesn't have a lot of value and weight to it. But that said, yes, go on. Where'd you want me to go to? Actually, I'll just pull up another link for Blue Letter, and then I'll be able to put it up on the screen for them.
Luke 17.
Okay.
And 26.
Let me go straight to Luke 17. All right, Luke 17 and 26. Hold on, almost there. All right. So let me drop Matthew down for the time being. Let's throw Luke on the screen. All right, there we go.
Luke 17 and 26. 1 second. Let me actually get there. Luke 17 and 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
Good precept. But sorry, continue.
In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken, and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken, and the other left. Two men shall be in the field. The one shall be taken, and the other left.
Well, I wasn't gonna go this far because then I want to go too deep.
Yeah.
Right here, this is talking about like when it's starting to go into talking about two women shall be grinding, then one shall be taken and the other left. What that's talking about is letting you know that some will be taken out of this final judgment and others will be left to deal with this final judgment. Whereas in the first part that we're reading before it started getting a little bit more detailed and more here I'll go back up right here when it starts talking about and destroy them all. Later on it starts getting more and more clear, more specific, instead of just destroy them all, because it's not of course going to destroy them all. There are some that are going to be saved in that salvation. And so it starts going in criteria, and other verses break into the criteria on it, and it gets more and more explicit and more narrowed down as you read more and more scripture. But let's skip, because I just wanted to establish that point first. And so let's go to Genesis. Yeah, let's go all the way back to Genesis, back to the beginning. Let's see, where did I want to go? Yes, John, that is exactly correct. That's what I wanted to exclaim. John said, let's put it on the screen. So the idiots partied until the end. Exactly. People are literally all the way up until the day of destruction comes. They are still not going to believe it. They're still not going to accept it until it's literally too late. Because in the day of Lot, I mean, not Lot. Well, the reason why it was bringing up Lot, and actually, let me just go back to it. Let's read that again. Let's skip down and start with 29. Read 29 again.
Luke 17 and 29. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all.
Continue.
Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife.
All right, yeah, that's what I wanted. The reason why it's important to remember Lot's wife is because Lot's wife did not want to separate herself from Sodom. She still was looking back to that place and was torn. And though that was a real event, the message that is meant for us to take from that is, in that time, we need to be pressing forward. And when it says, come out of her, my people, so you not be partaker. Actually, go ahead and get that.
1 second.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I won't even paraphrase it. I'll just pull it on up.
This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
Yes, and so that's the reason why I wanted to bring that one up, is because this is basically the issue which Lot's wife had. She's being told to come out of Sodom. but she still feels that connection and wants to go back. And she was commanded, do not even look back at what the heck is happening back there. You can hear all the screams, the noise, all that. Keep your head in the game. Stay focused. And she did not want to stay focused. John says they wanted Lot to come out and party. Was there? Well, yeah. Actually, they wanted the angels to come out and party. And it wasn't like some people would think, oh, well, this would just be some young, people. No, it was literally all the way from like the youth all the way to older men, like in their senior ages. So this is talking about all the way from a step above, we're talking about like adolescents, all the way up until like senior citizens, all wanted to rape some angels. And they literally did not want the women at all. Now, that wasn't the only reason why Lot, that's not the only reason why Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. But what this is all prophetically, linking together is just like the destruction which happened in Noah's days. The rain came down. In Sodom's days, the fire rained down. And in that last day, you're going to have fire also that's going to rain down on Mystery Babylon. That's the reason why it describes it as Sodom and Egypt. Because what happened to Sodom? Sodom was destroyed with fire. So let's go ahead and let's go to Genesis 6.
From the top,
because hold on, and let's do a little setting up, because somebody sent me something from what is his name, Billy Carson, and Billy Carson was breaking down, talking about well God is evil and he's just killing people and he's just doing this and doing that. And the thing about it, my frustration with hearing him say this is like, you're not giving any context to anything. You're just saying stuff. And this man literally said that he's read the Bible over 100 times. For me, unless you're like 60 or 70 years old, it's hard for me to believe that, because it takes so long to read the whole Bible. Like I heard this girl who's probably about I'd say she's maybe 30. She said, I've read the Bible like 10 times between high school to college. I do not believe that. Jose, how long is it taking you to read the Bible?
To try to, and even then, to even absorb everything.
But to absorb what it's saying, to absorb it all, even if you did read every word, there's no way you could have absorbed it all.
Old Apocrypha and New Testament, it was easily I want to say a year and change, and it took me actually developing a coffee addiction to want to stay up late at night to try to get some more chapters in. Like it was a lot. It was too much.
Yeah, it's too. Anybody who starts telling you that they read the Bible, I read it like 20 times, then just pull up random stuff and ask them to explain it then. You can read all kind of stuff as much as you want, but do you have comprehension? That's what's most important. I'd rather take the person who's read the Bible one time, or not even read the whole Bible one time, that you've read a portion and you understand that. I'll take that over somebody who's read it 500 times, because it's about the comprehension. Let's see, what did it say there? Lot's wife always resonated with me. The desire to look back will be strong, but we must resist. Exactly. Yep. There are going to be people just like the party boats. And that's the reason why I'm not sure. I think I left it in there where it looks like a father giving his daughter away in marriage. because people are still going to have all their plans, the bridezillas and all that. Let's go out for the bachelor party and chill. Like right now, we literally are sitting at the doorsteps to World War III, or actually biblically getting towards the sixth seal. You're getting towards the sixth seal. There's only 7 seals. There's only 7 trumpets, 7 vials. If you're getting towards the end of them, you're getting ready for the return of the Messiah, and you should be taking that very seriously. That's the reason why you guys are seeing all of this stuff, and we'll delve off into it. My mind is going a bunch of different places right now, because literally right now in California, we are having massive rain. We're having some people are having so much ice in their yard that it's looking like they're starting to have snow. Have you guys ever heard of it snowing in LA?
Have you ever heard of earthquakes happening in New York? Like,
yeah, we got a lot of stuff that's happening that normally doesn't happen. Let's see. When I read it first, I had biases from church teaching, had to reread. Yeah, you have to reread it. When you get into Second Esdras, it literally tells you that mankind is made on the 5th day. Well, then is Esdras wrong, or is Genesis wrong? Because what we have to keep in mind is, since a lot of the Bibles were destroyed, literally what we have are manuscripts that are rewritten by Ezra, which is Esdras. So you're going to say that you're not going to accept Esdras, but he's the same one who you're reading his interpretations, or what he's copied down from the other scrolls. So if you're going to take Genesis to Malachi, you got to take that also.
Esdras is responsible for that. Moses initially put it to the scroll, but it was lost and it had to be copied back thanks to Esdras.
Which, there was multiple times where the scribes would also copy this and copy this and copy this. I mean, throughout the 12 tribes, in order for them to be all able to read it in the different tribes, somebody had to rewrite it down, because back in those days there was no printing press. What was God's measure of a day? God's 90. There you go. I won't say it. I will just let you read it.
It's actually Psalms 90 and 2 Peter 3 for the 2 precepts.
Yep.
Let me get to it.
Because believe it or not, mostly everything that y'all ask, we can give you a scripture for it, because that's how you're supposed to.
So this is Psalms 90 and 1. Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Skipping down to verse 4. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night.
So it's literally telling you 1,000 years for us is one day for the Lord.
And this is a prayer from Moses, Psalms 90. And as for 2 Peter chapter 3.
And while he's getting that, here's a little food for thought. When it's talking about those 6 days, part of creation, are they literal 6 days? Are they 6 of our days? Or are they 6 days of the Most High's days? Because if that's the case, then that means that 7 days, the 6 days of creation and the 7th or Sabbath day of rest, that would be 7,000 years.
So this is 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day.
Yeah, I don't think you could have laid it out any more clear than that. But let's go. I was talking about People think it's 6 of ours. Yeah, people think it's
Nope.
6 of ours. It's ridiculous.
I mean, nothing is impossible for the Most High if He wanted that. But
He deals in practicality. People, that's what it is. And I told somebody this the other day. I said, for people in Christianity, they take everything which is metaphorical and make that literal, and everything that's literal make that metaphorical. Completely backwards understanding of the Bible.
So there's a reason why Genesis was John and Vicky. Just so you know, this is a reason why Genesis was written. Moses wrote Genesis in that way, and Second Ezra explains it. This is Second Ezra chapter 14 and verse. I'll start at 1. Second Ezra 14 and 1. And it came to pass upon the third day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush over against me, and said, Esdras, Esdras. And I said, Here am I, Lord. Here am I, Lord. And I stood up upon my feet. Then he said unto me, In the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. Skipping down to verse 5. And told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying, These words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide.
And make sure you hold that precept, because we're going to need to come back to that one. It's funny that you brought that up, because that ties perfectly into when we go into Second Ezra later. But and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it, but I remember going back and rereading this or re-listening to it, because I was listening to it on audio earlier today. I was like, man, I forgot how much that this tied everything back together. Because at this point, when I was going through the Apocrypha, I decided to go back and reread the whole Old Testament. And go all the way from Genesis straight up through the Apocrypha. Let's see. Yipper is there. He says, is there a way to tell which is literal and figurative? Except the obvious walking on water. Well, the best way I would say to tell is a lot of times things are explained out in the Bible. Is sometimes the sea talking about literally a sea? Yes. But is sometimes sea talking about a body, a group of people? Yes. And through the Bible, it tells a story, it tells you something, and then it reiterates it multiple times throughout the Bible to explain itself.
Yeah, like here's one example. I'm gonna go to the example of trees.
Oh, you're reading my mind, because I was just about to start talking about trees, but go on ahead.
All right, this is Genesis 3 and verse 3. Let me start at Genesis 3 and 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Now, let's go to Psalm chapter 1. Almost there. All right. Psalm chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is on the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper.
And see, it literally used him as a metaphor for a tree, and literally even start going deeper into the metaphor, talking about, his leaf.
One more, and this is
Sorry, go
this
ahead.
this is
Go ahead.
This is Yahushai, like making it very simple,
Mhm.
as if he was giving us one of the biggest clues to Genesis. All right, this is Mark chapter 8 and verse 23. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hand upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking.
So there, he's literally telling you right there that tree, and that's what we were saying. You're normally always supposed to try to find. Definitely, you don't just go to one precept. You go and find 2 or 3. That way, you can establish that precept. But there's multiple places in the Bible which refer to men as trees. Just like another one that I like to talk about, where it talks about nations being hills and mountains. That's another one.
And being referred to as beasts.
That's in Daniel, definitely. Daniel and Revelations.
If you want one more tree comparison, you have God, the Most High, talking, like giving an explanation on how much he cared for and tended to Adam, and he refers to him as a tree in Ezekiel 31.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times when it talks about husbandry is talking about dealing with trees and livestock. Not livestock, but what's the word I'm looking for?
Gardens,
Gardening,
vineyards.
vegetation, vineyards. That's what I was trying to go into. But let's go ahead and bring this. Let's go to Genesis 6. And we can start at the beginning. So you want to know the context of why he even sent the flood. This is I always say, go here right at the top of Genesis 6:1. It literally, look at the title of it, The Corruption of Mankind. So let's get into it when you're ready, sir.
This is Genesis chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass, when man began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
So stop right there. This is at the time when he ordained that man will not live longer than 120 years. Now, granted, plus or minus, you can have some people who might go a little older than that, a little younger than that. But for the most part, it's extremely rare for people to live longer than 120 years. But continue.
Verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown.
All right, stop right there. I wanted to stop right there just because I wanted to clarify something. We do not teach that when it's talking about giants, that we're literally talking about, Jolly Green Giant. We're not talking about Jack and the Beanstalk. We are talking about people that in that time period that would have been taller, much taller than people, maybe 7 foot, maybe even close to 8 foot, maybe 8 foot. Some of these people, we got to remember the average man back in those days was only like 5 foot tall. I mean, and there were plenty of men who were shorter than that. So I don't hold to that. Now, we hold to this. Now, if somebody really wanted to fight it out about that point, that they do definitely believe that there were actual real giants that were, that big, and that there were dinosaurs and the whole lot. Okay, well, then they were all killed during the flood anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. But but let's continue.
Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Now stop right there. Let's read that one again. In fact, I want you to read it over once, and then let's slowly read this again.
Verse 5. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Again.
And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Exactly. So this is why God, as it says here, or Yahweh, was coming to destroy people, because their thoughts, their heart, which is their mind, was evil continuously. That's all they were, was about evilness. So when somebody like a Billy Carson tries to say, well, the God of the Bible is evil because he's doing this or doing that, it's because he knows what everybody is doing. He knows whether you see, let me switch over. He knows whether in front of me or you that we might not see each other do anything wrong, but he knows what our private inner thoughts are. He knows what we do behind closed doors. He knows what you got away with 15, 20 years ago that nobody ever knew about. He knows all this. So he knows who is completely innocent and he knows who's completely guilty. And this is what somebody like a Billy Carson, who's chopping the Bible, who's not reading with context, and who is doing this deceptively on purpose. So, Pacheco. Oh, well, welcome in, Pacheco. He says that really expands on the mustard tree motif for me. Good, amazing lesson. Thank you. Well, we try our best. All praises go to the Most High. For any blessings that we're able to put out to anybody. John says, give man a 1,000 years and he will screw up. Multiple wives, too many kids, lots of mistakes. Exactly. Vicky, it's hard times to know when to take things literal versus figuratively. It just takes a lot of reading, and we go back, and every time you reread through a passage, it gets more enlightenment. And also when you discuss these things back and forth with each other, there's stuff which I've read probably 15 times, 20 times, maybe even more. And then Jose will read it and he'll see something that I might not have saw. Happens all the time. And that's what happens when you 2 Timothy 2:15, when you study to show thyself approved. When you study it, you see more and more and more. I'm glad you were free to attend also. We know our inner thoughts, we're dangerous. Yeah, so and so I wanted to expound on that right now, but let's keep going. There's more.
Verse 6. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. Let me read that again. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them.
So he's saying, man, I'm sorry I even created them. They've become so wicked and evil that I feel like I made a mistake to even make these people.
Actually, so Yipper had asked the question, for a difference between God and God. To answer that, you would have to get the Hebrew breakdown of scroll up.
Oh, okay.
On Blue.
Oh, you want me to let's see on which one? You want me to go in?
Yeah, 6 and 5, and
Okay.
God all caps. You'd have
All
to
right.
get the definition for that.
Which you saw there, Jehovah. Right there. Proper noun with reference to deity. You see this? How it's capital Lord, God, Jehovah. How each time it's using it, it's capitalized.
No,
No,
it's different.
I know
Okay.
what you were thinking if it was going to have a tetragrammaton.
No, like, okay, so how do you call it? Genesis 1 and 1 has the definition that I'm looking for.
We can skip there real quick if you want. Okay, where it says Elohim.
Mhm.
Elohim or Elohim.
Yeah, so you have a definition of God that is going to be referring to like literally the powers. Different entity, not just one singular one. As in right there, rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods.
See, yeah. So for those who don't know it, when you say Elohim, for one, it is right here plural. Whenever you're hearing that, so when it's showing the lowercase God, for one, God is Germanic, so there's only one word for God. So that's the reason why it's capitalized or lowercase, because they're not able to expound on it the way the text shows it, whether it's in the Greek or the Hebrew. In the Hebrew, there are, it gives a differentiation between the Most High God and when it's talking about other people, where it's using that term also. In the Greek, there is two different words for God. It's not just God. You have theon and theos. So that makes a difference. It only refers to the Most High God as theon. It refers to Yahushua or Christ or Jesus as it refers to them as theos. It refers to angels as theos. It refers to Satan as theos. It refers to kings as theos. It refers to a lot of people as theos. And what you have to understand, the difference is the meaning. It means God, the translation, the direct translation would mean power, your power. So there are different forms and different levels of power, always. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the understanding when why the reason why you'll see it as capital or lowercase, because they don't have, there's only one word for it in the English, so you're not able to show the context any other way but lowercase or capital.
If you want to get pretty much exactly what Marcus just said, like when you get the different translations from Hebrew to Greek and then to Latin and then to English, you can look at the prologue of Ecclesiasticus, which is pretty much is going to explain exactly that.
Oh, look at this in the second definition. Plural intensive. God, goddess, godlike one. Godlike meaning you're not God, but you're someone some way like God. Works or special possessions of God.
We ain't doing that Trinity nonsense here.
No, so it's not about no. So this is showing you there is a differentiation between the Most High God and even between Christ. So it's not the Trinity. The Trinity is nonsense. It's madness. Unless you believe that The God of the Bible is schizophrenic. That's the only thing that makes sense. You have to be like, yes, I completely believe that. Now, if you're an atheist, I can get that argument. But if you're somebody who say you believe in the creator, you can't believe that your creator is schizophrenic. That doesn't make any sense. I say, destroy my creation, the words of a perfectionist God. Yeah, he is a perfectionist. He wants us to be, and perfection biblically just means being complete. He wants us to come to completion. Correct. It's not like, did you never trip and fall? That's not a sin. So it's not about that. It's doing the will as best as possible. So why do Jews use God when writing?
So you might be referring to the Ishes.
Yeah, I think it's talking about, the Ish group. They actually don't even use God. Well, if you're talking about like in Judaism, they actually most of the time they will say
they'll call
Adonai, or they will say Adonai, or they will say Hashem.
Yep.
Which tell them what Hashem means. Hashem means the name. So they're literally, you're like, what's your God? Well, Hashem says this. They're saying the name says this because they don't believe in saying the name. They literally will not say the name. And should I do it or should I not? Should I do it or should I not?
What?
I'll pull this. Yeah, hold on. Let me put it on the screen. I don't want to say it out loud. I will just put it on the screen. I won't say it. Or actually, I'll read part of it.
No, Yipper, it's he who must not be named.
Yeah, this is why they won't say it. But cursed be this is Malachi 1:14. But cursed be the deceiver which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrificed to the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts, or saith Yahweh of hosts, and my name is, actually that's just true to say it, and my name is dreadful among the heathen. So if you're a heathen, you probably wouldn't want to say the name.
Damn, Marcus, we're gonna get taken down for violating YouTube community guidelines.
I'm like, you know what?
That's a wrap. It's a wrap, guys.
Why you ducking? Why you ducking saying the name? Then don't be scared to say the name. So let's put it back on the screen. What the heck just happened there? Oh, okay, that's different. So let's put it. Let's go back to. Okay, yeah, let's go back to this one. So we'll back up to. Let's go back to Genesis 6, right?
Yes. We only had one more verse.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Verse. Well, let's start
Genesis
7 again.
Okay. I'll start at 6.
Oh, okay. Damn, give me a second. Sorry. Actually, you're gonna have to.
I'll go on ahead. Genesis 6:6, and it repented the Lord Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Genesis 6:7. And the Lord Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and the creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. 6 and 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord Yahweh. Gen 6 and 9. These are the generations of Noah. So yeah, this starts going into his children and stuff like that. Well, actually, I'll just go ahead and read it real quick. These are generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations. Perfect. He was righteous. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So anybody who's saying, "Oh, he didn't do it for no, he just was mean. He was just an evil God." Earth was filled with violence. And it also showed that they were evil and wicked. He had a reason for doing what he did. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. All right, so let's go to 7. So now you guys are getting the picture of what was going on during Noah's days. All types of wickedness, all types of evil, all kinds of violence, everything you can think of that was anti-God was going on. So, want me to keep reading?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Genesis 7 and 1. The Lord Yahweh said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. So he's saying that, I believe that you were, like I said before, that he was perfect in his generation. For thee I have seen righteous. Perfect equals to righteousness. The Lord saw him as righteous, so therefore he's saving him and his generation, which is him, his wife, his kids, and their wives, 8 people who are boarding onto this ark. Genesis 7 and 2. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. So of the clean, we're taking them in multiples of 7. For unclean, we're taking in multiples of 2.
Which should let you know that the laws existed before Moses, even back then. Otherwise, how would Noah know what is clean and unclean?
And what's unclean? Yeah, exactly. Well, also when you start going into the sacrifice all the way back to Cain and Abel, and that goes back to Genesis, the first chapter, or was it fourth? Yeah, 4th chapter. Say of the fowls also by air by 7s, and the males and the females to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And you guys know the rest of the story from there. But because there's a lot that I want to get into 2nd Esdras, so let's go on ahead and skip over that. I guess I didn't charge my microphone. So we'll do it without the mic. My cat's jealous right now, Jose. Yes, like today, the earth is filled with wickedness, and this is what this is talking about. Like in the end days, it will be like the days of Noah. Oh, wait a minute. There was something that I did want to get before, because some people might say, well, he's not going to destroy the earth by Next chapter. So some people say, well, yeah, because the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because somebody literally started talking about that the earth was going to be flooded again. And this is somebody who professed to believe in the Bible. I'm trying to remember. Where's it at? It should be right around here. Where is it at? Might be the next chapter. There we go. Yeah, there it is. I was off one. So I wanted to go here. Genesis 9:1. So anybody thinking that, oh, he's going to destroy the earth with flood again, I'm not going to say the person who made this prediction, but Genesis 9:1. And
I got
God, oh, you got it?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll give you a break. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can read every now and then.
Genesis 9:1. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man. At the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. And you, be fruitful and multiply. Bring forth abundantly in the earth, and multiply therein. And God spake unto Noah, and to his sons with him, saying, And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark, to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth.
That is basics right there back in Genesis, telling you that he will not destroy the earth with a flood again. Yipper says, I think a lot of evangelicals believe the flood. Well, I believe the flood definitely, and I could show you actual archaeology which backs up the flood. I mean,
Be right back.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
There's literal. Can you tell me how did shark bones get into the tops of the mountains and all kind of other fish? I mean, unless you believe that mountains grow, I mean, I don't know how to explain. How do you have sea life at literally all the highest points all around the earth? Now, in those days, do I believe that it was all one continent? You guys heard of Pangea, of course. Yes, the Bible speaks of Pangea. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Bloomsday flood. We need to support it. Oh, that's right. Oh, let me go back and read Vicky's right there. When it said there are 7 trumpets, 7 vials, and thunders and revelations regarding the 7th seal, I don't know what that is referring to. We are going to go into that eventually, but that is a deep, deep breakdown. But what I can do is I can go in and just explain one of the seals. That way you can kind of get an understanding of what we're talking about. Jose, while I want to show them one thing that I was talking about Pangea, but pull up the three woes.
Okay.
That way we can go into that, but let me pull something else up here real quick.
This is Revelation chapter 8 and verse 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound.
So that's literally giving you one of the trumpets. What's happening during that trumpet, and what these trumpets, the trumpets and seals kind of go hand in hand. A lot of times, what's happening in the trumpet and seals is very similar. Once you really read into them, and it's giving you a lot of the same prophetic information, just saying it a little bit differently. The vials, on the other hand, are a little bit different. The vials starts talking about different plagues and things that are going to come upon the earth. Now, in my understanding and reading them, it doesn't appear that the vials are going in the same sequence, or I don't want to say sequence. They're not going. They're not synchronized with the seals and trumpets. It almost seems as if at a certain point, the vials are going to happen, 1 through 7, and then it's going to get back to it. It's like it's part of the seals. And so, I guess a layman, easier way of just breaking down the seals or explaining the seals without actually going into a deeper breakdown. The seals, when the seal is being opened, it is Yahweh from the heavens who is basically casting, this is what's about to happen. The trumpets are the angels sounding the warning to what's going to happen. Now, they're not literally going out blowing the trumpet. It's giving different signs on the earth that are happening. So when it starts talking about, you'll see, let's go back to, let me pull Matthew back up real quick to explain that. Let me put this on the screen. Because when I go into Matthew right here, the first Matthew 24, and we could pull this up also in Luke too. No, not there. Go too far back. All right. Perfect example here. Matthew 24 and 7.
For Matthew 24 and 7.
Sorry, back up. Start with 24 and 6.
Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because
no, you can continue.
And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you read that part, because I quote that one a lot to people, because I tell them in the last days you're going to just start seeing that love or compassion, or not even necessarily love as in love, but just compassion concern for others, it's going to wax cold, and people are going to be more or less kind of heartless towards each other in the last days. You're going to see all kind of crazy, weird stuff happening on a mass scale around the world to all kinds of people. And whereas you're going to start having people who maybe stuff didn't used to happen to them starts happening to them. But the main point which I wanted to bring up there is back to Matthew 6 and 7, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. That the reason why that is so important is because that is telling you of all the things that are coming, and that is also, though that's not saying a seal or a trumpet there, if you read in Revelations, it starts telling you about the same things that are being mentioned here. And so sometimes when people don't realize some of the stuff that they're reading is prophetic and going into stuff that is in prophetic scriptures that are in prophecies. But I talked a little bit, what did I say, about Pangea. I'm going to side note, hop back to that real quick before moving on to Esdras.
While you're in the middle of pulling that up, I just really want to touch on the verse that says, "And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold." The news headlines that I have been seeing on Twitter and just glancing at them have been crazy lately. Just here, I'm gonna list a couple from the New York Post. NYC fishmonger fatally stabs man, wounds brother in clash over stolen shrimp.
Man.
Oh, it gets worse. Georgia woman crashes into SUV into Popeyes after her order was missing biscuits.
Jesus.
Last one is this one's 19-year-old charged with killing 14-year-old sister.
Jeez. Louise.
It's getting dark very fast.
Yeah, it's getting dark. Trying to remember, what was his name? Eber. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Now let me put it back on the screen. So I was talking about the earthquake. Not earthquake, but I was talking about the flood. And that in that time, look, everything was connected. And so, actually, let me back it up a little bit. So I'll start with Genesis 11 and 18. Actually, let's back it up so you guys know who the heck Peleg is. This is going through, actually, let's skip up to the beginning so we have context. Descendants of Shem. These are the 11 and 10. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years and begot sons and daughters. Now I guess we can keep reading on down. Or did you want to take it up and read?
Yeah, from 11?
Yeah, go ahead and read 11 down to 19.
One sec. Genesis 11 and verse 11. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Salah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Salah lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years, and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years, and begat sons and daughters.
Sorry, keep going.
And Reu lived 32 years, and begat Serug. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Serug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
I'm wondering, did we miss it? Must have skipped it. No, we didn't skip it, but oh, wait a minute. That's not what it. Well, it does talk about Peleg. I don't know why I told you to keep going. But the point is showing that when it's showing this line of succession, it is a reason why it's showing that the birthright of who is, who the promise goes through, who the covenant keeps following through. It goes passing down through generations, through a seed line. I was looking for when it talked about Peleg separating. Where'd that go? Must have missed that. Let me double check to see where that is, because where is that at? 10 and oh, that's why. That's why. Gotta go back to. I went through. I did skip it. Prior chapter. What is previous chapter? So. This is what I was looking for. Oh, it's Genesis 10 and 25. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided. And his brother's name was Joktan. Now, the whole point of that was to say that, yes, the earth was all one connected thing. And at a certain point, that's when it started to split. So when people start talking about continental drift, that's a real thing, and this is when the continental drift started. So no universal health care in the U.S. is perfect example of lack of compassion. Yeah, but then you got to worry if they actually do give you that. What strings are going to be attached if that lack of compassion is gone? It might only be to set you up into a worse trap. But yeah, we could stop that one, and then we're at 118. So let's go ahead and get to second Esdras. We're doing pretty good on time right now.
Shocking.
Yeah. I don't know. Depends on how much we can get it. Because the problem with second Esdras, the only problem is sometimes I don't know where to stop. I don't know what's a good stopping point because it's so much in there. Let me make this a little bigger. Oh, what was the button again? I'm trying to remember. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, so you ready for Got second Edris 3 pulled up?
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just start it. Start at 1.
Okay. Second Ezra chapter 3 and verse 1. In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Sion, and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon.
Oh, you
Alright.
forgot Salathiel.
Huh?
Oh, did yours not say Salathiel? Isolathiel?
No.
Which version am I in? Hold on.
RV 1895?
I mean, well, I mean, later on it does tell you that Salathiel was talking, but let's match up so I can get with you and be on this one accord. See, there's a KJV 16. Oh, whatever. What the? Did you do that?
Why?
Why did you do that? Okay, you're not sliding up now. Why is this not moving? Okay.
Just go to KJV.org and then go to the 1611 version.
Oh, that's what it was. That's what you go to. Yeah, this is. I don't know this site. So apologies, everyone.
Yeah, you have it. Like right there, the very first result.
Figures. Oh, I probably searched it enough. Oh, there it is. Pop right up for me. All right. So let's continue.
Second Ezra chapter 3 and verse 1. In the 30th year after the ruin of the city, I was in Babylon, and lay troubled upon my bed, and my thoughts came up over my heart. For I saw the desolation of Sion, and the wealth of them that dwelt at Babylon. And my spirit was sore moved, so that I began to speak words full of fear to the Most High, and said, O Lord, who bearest rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone and commandest the people, and gavest the body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thine hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee.
Now I want to stop right there because people who are just reading this won't get the significance of what is being said here. And gave us a body unto Adam without soul. So Adam did not have a soul at that point. What this is going into is he didn't have that or that essence that comes from the Most High. He was just a body, which was the workmanship of thy hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life. And the breath of life is that understanding that comes from the Most High, how you're supposed to live and operate in this world, what the Creator, what the Father wants and expects of you. So I'm like, I know it, and when you read enough precepts and you start understanding, when it's saying key words here and there, what that's talking about, when it starts talking about the breath of life, it's not just talking about living. The commandments are life. So let's continue. Or did you have anything you want to add?
Well, I was actually going to pull the precept in Deuteronomy, but
Yeah, no, go on ahead. Go on ahead. That way we can always be proving the point.
all right. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. This is when Moses is begging essentially the Israelites to begin following the laws and commandments before they take over the land of Israel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I tell people, you want to get some chills and some deep understanding. Well, yeah, some of this is going to be, once it starts getting to like chapter 8, 9, that's when you're dealing with the meats. That's when, what I mean by the meat is just like a baby would need milk at first, you know, baby can't just go on to eating steak. When you start first really getting some understanding in the Bible, then you can start moving from the milk to, you know, maybe you got some little baby foods. Maybe you know, get a little French fry here, you know, when mom would get a little baby, a little French fry to chew on. Then as you start getting older, then you start, and you have your teeth, you start chewing on the real meat and that having that true understanding of the more complicated scriptures and prophecies. So that's what I'm saying. When you start getting into some of these deeper chapters, it starts getting like, what is going on here? And if you haven't, it's kind of like if you haven't seen the part 1 and part 2 and part 3 of a movie, when part 4 comes out, you're like, what is going on at this point? I don't even or seasons in a show. You might be like, I don't know what's going on here. The Bible's the same way. You got to have true understanding and been following along with this whole saga to understand what's really being talked about once you get to the further levels. But let us continue.
Verse 6. And thou leddest him into paradise, which thy right hand had planted, there before ever the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandment to love thy way, which he transgressed. And immediately thou appointedst death in him and in his generations, of whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of number. And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. And again, in process of time, thou broughtest a flood upon those that dwelt in the world, and destroyedst them. And it came to pass.
So I want to stop real quick. So right there, we just showed how Genesis in the Old Testament, the first book of the Bible, is talking about Noah right there. We just showed how Matthew and in Luke, it's giving accounts of the flood story in the New Testament, so-called New Testament. And here we're giving you that it's talking about that same account from Genesis here in the Apocrypha in the middle of the book. So it's showing that it's talking about this event over and over for a reason. So sorry, continue.
I'm going to get a precept after this.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 10. And it came to pass in every one of them, that as death was to Adam, so was the flood to these. Nevertheless, one of them thou leftest, namely Noah, with his household, of whom came all righteous men.
So right there, you see, not only Noah was righteous, his family were considered righteous men at that time.
And it happened that when they that dwelt upon the earth began to multiply, and had gotten them many children, and were a great people, they began again to be more ungodly than the first. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them, whose name was Abraham. Him thou lovest, and unto him only thou showest thy will, and madest an everlasting covenant with him, promising him that thou wouldest never forsake his seed. And unto him thou gavest Isaac, and unto Isaac also thou gavest Jacob and Esau. As for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee, and put by Esau. And so Jacob became a great multitude.
Now I wanted to stop right there, because all of that said a lot. It completely goes against when people also, well, I would try to have Abraham and Isaac. This is showing the succession of election. Remember how we were going through, and this person begot this person, and that person begot that person, and this person begot that person. It literally showing the chain of custody, how Adam was given the blessing first. It goes through Adam. Then out of Cain and Abel, it was going to Abel, but Cain killed Abel. And so then when they had their son Seth, It gets passed on to Seth, and then it goes down through his lineage. And then Noah comes from that lineage. All the other people are destroyed away. So therefore, everybody is coming from Noah's lineage. Noah has 3 sons, Ham, Shem, Japheth. That means that everybody who's left now breaks off into one of these 3, which came originally all the way from Seth, going all the way back to Adam. Well, now it goes down from Shem, and it goes all the way down, or Arphaxad, Lud, all these different people, Peleg, Eber, down to Abraham. Now it's showing from Abraham, it continued to follow a line of succession. It did not just stop at Abraham. Oh, we're all just Abraham's children. No, it goes from Abraham down to his son Isaac. From Isaac, Isaac had 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. And then it says, as for Jacob, thou didst choose him to thee and put by Esau, meaning he put Esau away. The blessing did not go to Esau, even though he was actually the firstborn. But that gets into it. But we'll go into Jacob and Esau another time. But when it says, and so Jacob became a great multitude. Jacob, whose name became Israel or Yisrael, or we can go into all the different things, whatever. He had 12 sons. From his, even into his 12 sons, which make up the Israelites, one of them is giving the blessing to be the leader, the hegemony of the 12 sons. That went to Judah. From Judah goes a line of succession all the way down through to King David, which eventually Solomon. There's a bunch of other kings which I could have named also, but eventually that goes down to Jesus Christ or Yahushua. So there is a line of succession that the Bible shows all the way down, a chain of custody, as one could say.
Yeah, Matthew chapter 1 essentially gives a nice summary of that line of succession from Adam all the way to Hamashiach.
And that's the reason why it's important when it keeps talking about this person that got that person, that we got that person, but got that person, we got that person. It's showing you a chain of custody of who the birthright is put on. That's the reason why it says for the election to stand. Multiple people can't win an election. Only one person can win that election. And so that broke down to one seed, and that seed wins the election. So let's continue.
Okay. Now when verse 13. Now when they lived so wickedly before thee, thou didst choose thee a man from among them whose name was Abraham. Him that actually no, damn. Oops. I went too far up.
We're
Okay. 17. And it came to pass that when thou leddest his seed out of Egypt, thou broughtest them up to the Mount Sinai. And bowing the heavens, thou didst set fast the earth, movest the whole world, and madest the depths to tremble, and troublest the men of that age. And thy glory went through 4 gates of fire, and of earthquake, and of wind, and of cold, that thou mightest give the law unto the seed of Jacob, and diligence unto the generation of Israel. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. For the first Adam, bearing a wicked heart, transgressed, and was overcome, and so be all they that are born of him. Thus infirmity was made permanent, and the law also in the heart of the people with the malignity of the root, so that the good departed away, and the evil abode still. So the times passed away, and the years were brought to an end. Then didst thou raise thee up a servant, called David, whom thou commandest to build a city unto thy name, and to offer incense and oblations unto thee therein. When this was done many years, then they that inhabited the city forsook thee, and in all things did even as Adam and all his generations had done, for they also had a wicked heart. and so thou gavest thy city over into the hand of thine enemies. Are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither, and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 30th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thine enemies, and hast not signified it. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Sion? Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed thy covenant as Jacob? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments. Weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world. And so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
All right. So I know we normally don't read whole chapters, but I wanted to read that because that's literally, it goes into so much information and it breaks down, that he's sitting up there questioning, like, yo, the heathen are not getting punished. They're doing all this wicked, evil stuff. They're getting wealthy. But as soon as Israel does something, you're punishing us. Why? Why are they not getting punished like we're getting punished? And the reason why,
Precept.
Precept? Go ahead. Atres, what's up, brother?
All right. This is Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 6. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards, and not sons.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that's pretty clear what that is saying there. That if you're not being chastened, then that's almost like the Lord is saying he doesn't love you. And if he doesn't love you, it's because he is setting you up for failure. What is it? A vessel to honor and a vessel to dishonor. You've been decided to be a vessel for dishonor. So let's hop back in. Oh, it's only 1:38. Cool. Then we might be able to hit 4 and 5. And you guys will probably want to come back to this point. Remember at about the 138 mark when we start going into Book of Esdras. So might have to go back a little bit, maybe 135 or so when we started it. But let's hop back in because the first part, he's going through and he's like, these heathen are not getting punished. And he's complaining and going through and he's talking about a lot of things. Well, here he's about to get a response. And this is important and very interesting. So let's go to the response.
This is a deep chapter. I first read it, it gave me chills.
This chapter is so heavy.
Second Esdras chapter 4. And the angel that was sent unto me, whose name was Uriel, gave me an answer, and said, Thy heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High? Then said I, Yea, my Lord. And he answered me and said, I am sent to show thee 3 ways, and to set forth 3 similitudes before thee.
Now, let's hold on. Somebody asked before, how do we know if this is figurative or if it's literal? Right here, he just says it. He says, I am sent to shew thee 3 ways and to set forth 3 similitudes before thee. Letting you know, I'm about to give you some proverbs. I'm about to give you some parables to let you figure this out. And not only parables, he's going to give visions also in similitudes. So let's continue. That's what I'm saying. This is a deep breakdown that we're about to give you guys. Actually, it's not even really a breakdown because a lot of it's going to be very clear, but it's just something that I guarantee you most people who've only read the Bible, especially the 66 books, have never read any of this. But let's continue.
Verse 4. Whereof if thou canst declare me one, I will show thee also the way that thou desirest to see, and I shall show thee from whence the wicked heart cometh. And I said, Tell on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, Go thy way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or call me again the day that is past. Then answered I and said, What man is able to do that thou shouldest ask such things of me? And he said unto me, If I should ask thee how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the firmament, or which are the outgoings of paradise?
Which, let's stop it right there. Let's go back to that part. You know where I want you to go, right?
Verse 7.
Yeah.
And he said unto me, If I should ask thee how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or
Now,
how many...
think about it. The sea is the most undiscovered part of the earth. Imagine back then how unknowable it would be to know the depths of the sea and all of the dwellings of the sea. I think at now, what is it, 5% of the ocean is discovered, maybe 10%. So we're talking 90 to 95% of it. Nobody knows what the hell is going on down there. Let's continue.
Or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the firmament.
Above the firmament. Here in the Bible, it's telling you that there is water above the firmament, which now you have to ask yourself, those planets that you see out there, are they outside the firmament or inside of the firmament? And can you get out of the firmament?
Or which are the outgoings of paradise? Peradventure thou wouldest say unto me, I never went down into the deep, nor as yet into hell, neither did I ever climb up into heaven. Nevertheless now have I asked thee but only of the fire and wind, and of the day wherethrough thou hast passed, and of things from which thou cannot be separated, and yet canst thou give me no answer of them. And he said moreover unto me, Thine own things, and such as are grown up with thee, canst thou not know. How should thy vessel then be able to comprehend the way of the highest, and the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight? Then said I unto him, It were better that we were not at all, than that we should live still in wickedness, and to suffer and not to know wherefore. He answered me and said, I went into a forest, into a plain, and the trees took counsel, and said, Come, let us go and make war against the sea, that it may depart away before us, and that we may make us more woods. The floods of the sea also in like manner took counsel, and said, Come, Let us go up and subdue the woods of the plain, that there also we may make us another country. The thought of the wood was in vain, for the fire came and consumed it. The thought of the floods of the sea came likewise to naught, for the sand stood up and stopped them. If thou wert judged now betwixt these two, whom wouldest thou begin to justify? Or whom wouldest thou condemn?
All right, now stop right there. Do y'all hear what he's just asked him? He basically is like, yo, so if fire consumes up earth and then water puts out the fire, who do you blame, basically? Like, he's asking him some questions which is virtually impossible for any of us to have knowledge on who justify, who do you condemn? Because what he's trying to elaborate to him in this similitude is that you cannot understand the ways of the Most High, period. Simply, that's what this means. I know this can sound a little complicated, but basically what he's saying is you can't understand the ways of the Most High. Let's continue.
Verse 19. I answered and said, Verily it is a foolish thought that they both have devised. For the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea also hath his place to bear his floods. Then answered he me, and said, Thou hast given a right judgment, but why judgest thou not thyself also? For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand not that. Let me start again. For like as the ground is given unto the wood, and the sea to his floods, even so they that dwell upon the earth may understand nothing but that which is upon the earth. And he that dwelleth above the heavens may only understand the things that are above the height of the heavens. Then answered I and said, I beseech thee, O Lord, let me have understanding. For it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to none effect. And we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. What will he then do unto his name whereby we are called? Of these things have I asked. Then answered he me and said, The more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasteth fast to pass away, and cannot comprehend the things that are promised to the righteous in time to come. For this world is full of unrighteousness and infirmities. But as concerning the things whereof thou askest me, I will tell thee. For the evil is sown, but the destruction thereof is not yet come. If therefore thou would...
Hold on a second real quick. He's basically telling that this earth, like we said it again, going back into Noah, talked about Sodom and Gomorrah, that this earth is wicked and unrighteous. Infirmities, way of saying sick. So unrighteous. But as concerning the things whereof thou ask me, I will tell thee, for the evil is shown, but the destruction therefore is not come yet. He's like, yes, you see all the evilness, but you don't see that judgment that is to come, that spoke about for all of these evils. And what he was asking him before, why haven't we seen this? Why haven't we seen that? Why he's getting to it. He's setting up the premise so you can't understand how these things are judged. But he's also letting you know. But it doesn't mean like you're assuming from your purview that there's not going to be a judgment. There's no recompense, that things are just going to be in this unnatural state. But I'm telling you, There is, but you can't understand the way that the Father decides to do this and all of his full understandings, but he's trying to explain it to him. Actually, let me check the chat real quick. Anybody have any questions on what we laid in, if it's not too complicated or anything?
No, I haven't seen anything pop up.
Okay, nothing pop up yet. But if you see any questions, you can go ahead and take it, and then let's get back into it. Continue.
Right. Verse 29. If therefore that which is sown be not turned upside down, and if the place where the evil is sown pass not away, then cannot it come that is sown with good. For the grain of evil seed hath been sown in the heart of Adam from the beginning, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed hath brought forth. And when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? Then I answered and said, How and when shall these things come to pass? Wherefore are our years few and evil? And he answered me, saying, Do not thou hasten above the Most Highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him, for thou hast much exceeded.
So what he's saying here, let me break this down just a little bit. He's saying that the judgment will come. Don't worry. So like then I answered and said, how when shall these things come to pass? He's asking like, yo, when is it going to happen? Wherefore our years, when of our years few and evil? Well, he's like, when is it getting close, basically? And then here he's asking, and he answered me saying, do not hasten above the Most High. He's like, don't try to rush God, basically. Like, you need to slow your roll, calm down. For thy haste is in vain to be above him. You cannot be above the Most High. That's why he's the Most High. So any try to rush and put pressure on him is completely in vain and a waste of your time. And he said, thou has exceeded much, meaning you're overstepping your boundaries by even talking that way. So just calm down a little bit, and I'm going to give you wisdom. All right, continue.
Verse
35.
Yeah. Verse 35. Did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying, How long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward?
All right, now pause. Now here, he's basically like saying, hey, well, other people asked, he's trying to kind of back down a little like, hey, I'm not trying to be rude. I mean, other people asked, I'm just asking. But continue.
Verse 36. And unto these things Uriel the archangel gave them answer, and said, Even when the number of seeds is filled in you, for he hath weighed the world in the balance. By measure hath he measured the times, and by number hath he numbered the times. And he doth not move nor stir them, until the said measure be fulfilled. Then answered I and said, O Lord that bearest rule, even we all are full of impiety. And for our sakes peradventure it is that the floors of the righteous are not filled, because of the sins of them that dwell upon the earth. So he answered me and said, Go thy way to a woman with child, and ask of her when she hath fulfilled her 9 months, if her womb may keep the birth any longer within her.
I love this comment here because, here, go ahead and read 41, and then I'll chime in.
Then said I, No, Lord, that she cannot. And he said unto me, In the grave the chambers of souls are like the womb of a woman. For
So-
like us.
So what he has said in all this stuff before is he's basically like, yo, the Most High has set this out for a timetable. All of these things are going to happen on a timetable which he has already set. He's already measured this out. He's already decided this is going to happen, and that's going to happen, and this is going to make that happen. And then after these people do that, then this judgment is going to happen at X. So when he was saying Noah's Ark, he timed that out to how that was going to happen, how long he was going to be on the ship, and when the waters were going to dry up, when he could come back out. He figured out how much food that he would need, how much food each of the animal. He calculated all of it for him. Sodom and Gomorrah, he had already calculated out. Okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to get out. He already knew his wife was not going to make it, and he left for her to be a warning for others, a proverb, if you will, for others down the road. And this, right, what he's saying here, he's like, so can a woman carry a child past the time when she's supposed to carry a child? I mean, we all know, can a woman be pregnant for a year and a half? No, it's impossible. This is what he's telling him. The judgments happen according to their time, and they are going to happen on their time. This last part. And then said, I know, Lord, that can she not. So he's like, yeah, of course that can't happen. And he said unto me, in the grave, the chambers of souls are like the womb of a woman. What that's saying is our souls have a time period also, just like that soul being in that woman's womb that has to be compacted in blood and has to take its 9 months into pregnancy at a maximum. You can have preemies, of course. What this is talking about is that's the same way. Your soul has a expiration date. Everybody has a judgment that they will face. Everybody has a length of time. Continue.
Verse 42.
Hold on 1 second. Oh, thank you, Liz. Thank you. Let's continue.
Verse 42. For like as a woman that travaileth maketh haste to escape the necessity of the travail, even so do these places haste to deliver those things that are committed unto them. From the beginning, look, what thou desirest to see, it shall be showed thee. Then answered I and said, Have I found favor in thy sight? And if it be possible, and if I be met therefore, show me then whether there be more to come that is past, or more past than is to come. What is past I know, but what is for to come I know not. And he said unto me, Stand up upon the right side, and I shall expound the similitude unto thee. So I stood and saw, and behold, a hot burning oven passed by before me. And it happened, that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this there passed by before me a watery cloud, and set down much rain with a storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. Then said he unto me, Consider with thyself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke. But the drops and the smoke remain behind, so the quantity which is past did more exceed. Then I prayed and said, May I live, thinkest thou, until that time? Or what shall happen in those days?
So
Yeah.
let's give a little clarification to all that was going on. Let me surmise this quickly. Basically, he's trying to still find a way to get Uriel to give him kind of some way where, okay, well, how do I judge by looking at these different signs? How can I kind of tell, like, kind of where we are? I mean, so basically, still back to asking this question. He's like, I'm not trying to rush, but I'm like, so how would I be able to know how close we are to that end time? And so he gives him a couple of metaphors or dark sayings or similitudes. And then on 51 it says, Then I prayed and said, May I live, thinkest thou, until that time. So he's just like, man, am I going to be alive to see these days? So let's continue.
Verse 52. He answered me and said, As for the tokens whereof thou askest me, I may tell thee of them in part. But as touching thy life, I am not sent to show thee, for I do not know it.
So he's like, I can't tell you if you're going to be alive during this time period, but I can kind of tell you what's going to happen in those days. And so I think 6 is probably the last. Let's see what time are we looking time wise. Oh, we're at the 2 hour mark. Oh, but I do want to read a little bit of 6 though. Let's do a little bit of 6. We won't do the whole thing, but we'll do a little bit of 6.
We kind of should knock out 6 just because it's a lengthy.
Because we kind of need to do we kind of need to go to that next chapter, because now he's going to start giving him some revelations and some understandings. Should we skip 5 and just go to 6?
What's in 5? Dang. Probably not.
Yeah, kind of need to go to 5. Actually, this is what we'll do. You guys see where this is at. You guys go ahead, and this is your homework to read it at home. But we're gonna hop to 6. Basically, to paraphrase some of what's happening in 5 is he's basically given him instructions. Uriel, the angel, is giving him instructions on what he should do. Basically, it's talking about doing some fasting and different things like that. And after a period of time, he's going to come back and give him a little bit more information. And basically, it goes through this reoccurring phase of him fasting, him praying a certain amount, getting rest, some bouts of solitude, and then he comes and gives him information. And then he asks for more clarification on the visions and things, the visions and parables which he's telling him. And so 6, it fast forwards a little bit to kind of give you some of what's going on here. So let's start with 6 and 1.
Chapter as 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 1. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or ever the winds blew, before it thundered and lightened, or ever the foundations of paradise were laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or ever the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or ever the chimneys in Zion were hot, and ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sinned were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure.
And when it's when it's talking about before they were sealed, it's not talking about, I know we talked about 7 trumpets and 7 seals. This is a different kind of sealing. What it's talking about is the hopeful elect, those who will be given that white stone of innocence versus the black stone of guilt. And that's given a reference to ancient Rome, which that talks about in Revelations, where it talks about giving that white stone, because in ancient Greece, if you were convicted, you got the black stone. If you were said to be innocent, you got the white stone. So this is talking about those that are be sealed, and the Revelations talked about being sealed in your forehead, basically your forehead in your mind, and those will be the ones who will be taken out of this area for judgment. So when Jose read, do you still have that precept from earlier? No. If not, don't worry about it. Yeah, if not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's getting to that time. It's late over here.
Yeah, it's all right. So continue with 5.
Okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 5. And ere the present years were sought out, and or ever the inventions of them that now sinned were turned, before they were sealed that have gathered faith for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, when shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other questions, Esdras, ask thou not.
So we can leave right there. That's a good point to end on. Because a lot of times I do love to use this scripture always, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. And it's letting you know Esau is the end of the world. So whoever is the descendants is the people who would be in power at the end of the world. And Jacob is the world, is the beginning of that followed. Jacob, 12 tribes of Israel. Judah, the tribe of Judah, is the tribe of Yahushua or Mashiach, or Jesus Christ comes from the tribe of Judah. And so it's saying that he is to follow after. And so, and just like how Judah is being referenced as Jacob, the chief tribe of Esau is Amalek. So Amalek is in power over its brothers of Esau or the Edomites. So whoever that is, whoever you guys believe who are ruling and controlling the earth, the world, the Bible is telling you it is Esau. Now it's up to you all to tell or make a decision who you believe it is talking about when it says Esau. So on that note, we can leave it there. See, we only went about 7 minutes over. Not too bad.
Not too bad.
It's enough, but I definitely tell you guys to read this. It gets heavy. It gets very, very heavy. And it explains things, I feel, even more clearly than you would read it in the book of Revelations, as far as, because Daniel 2 and Daniel 7 is going into the kingdoms overall, and that tie into Revelations gives you those different kingdoms and how it breaks down from the kingdoms. This goes more specific to the things that are actually going to happen, like the actual judgment that you are seeing and how it's going to happen, and it referencing, like we brought up earlier, Sodom, what happened to Sodom, and when it talks about how Mystery Babylon is Sodom and Egypt, but that's we can end it on that note. Any questions, please ask us those questions. If you're not watching this live, please put them in the comment section and we will come back and go through them. Any lessons that you guys want us to go into for our next class, please, put that in the chat, and then we can make sure that we remember to go into it.
Glad you enjoyed, Vicky.
Thank you, Vicky, for being there. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for everybody who's stayed all the way to the end. But yeah, this is our time. So let's say thank you both for the chat. Learned so much and more to research. Yeah. More on the seals. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We will bookmark that. We will go into at least a first couple of seals, because the seals go all the way throughout the whole 22 chapters of Revelations, and there's just so much in Revelations. I could not break that down in 2 hours. Jose, how long did it take for me to break down the book of Revelations? The whole 22
week. It's like a week and change, like very easily. Like there had to be sometimes one chapter would drag on for 2 different videos.
Yeah, that's right. We did it from the study Bible and let him do the reading. And then I just broke it down, which I probably could break it down a little bit faster. Now I've had some practice on it. But yeah, what I'll tell you is a lot of people think that Revelations is just something that's just going to happen. All this stuff is going to happen at the end. What we don't realize is some of this stuff in Revelation has already happened, and some of it is happening now. And so a lot of those Christians they're waiting for some Antichrist to pop up. The Antichrist is already here. The Antichrist has already been here. The Antichrist is not one single being. It's a system. It's people who are against God. All those people are Antichrists. The false prophet is the one who's been putting out Christianity or putting out the beliefs of Christianity, which is the Pope, the Catholic Church. That's the false prophet. So when it talks about that lake of fire, that is not talking about you're going down to hang out with Beelzebub or Satan or the devil. That's just not what that's talking about. The lake of fire is something that is coming. As you guys can see in the background, that's showing you an indication of what the lake of fire is. Just putting that out there. Oh, so the video we did before was great. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. All praises go to the Most High. Pacheco Roan, thank you also for tuning in. So, that said, Jose, brother, sign us out.
Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai. All praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahushai. With that, we say Shalom.
And a hearty Kwam Yasharallah.